I was on the road all day yesterday. I drove over. My wife and I went and did a show for a camp for disabled children, and I got back late last night. And then I walk in this morning, and apparently my daughter has been using my computer, and it's dead as a hammer. So now I'm doing it by phone. So
Oh, are you?
yeah,
There's technology for you right there.
all's well that ends well.
I am so happy to have legendary stand-up comedian, actor, writer, radio, television host, the one and only Jeff Foxworthy on the Danger Show podcast. Welcome.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
So I've actually had you on over the years. I was a country music program director here in Pittsburgh for 20 years, radio host and drive time. I always use the nickname Danger, and you could probably look at me and tell I'm very dangerous.
Without a doubt, yeah.
And I wanted to give you a view here. We're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Did you hear about the Canadian forest fire?
Yes, yes.
That's it out the window there. It's all foggy.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's like if your entire city is engulfed in Canadian smoke, you might live too close to Canada.
It looks like it's really foggy there.
Yeah, and I mean, like I do have a globe, and I kind of realize we're close to Canada, but I didn't realize that we were that close.
That's crazy that smoke would travel that far. That's insane.
And I guess, and I think I looked. You're like in California, I think this weekend, but the entire Northeast is like engulfed in this for the weekend. It's crazy.
That's nuts. Yeah, I'm in Atlanta right now, but I'm about to head out to California. I got shows out there this weekend.
And that's the reason you were kind enough to do this show. I have talked to you over the years on radio, but you are going to be at one of my favorite spots up in the mountains. You're going to be at Timber Rock Amphitheater in Farmington, PA on July 31st. Get tickets at timberrockамp.com. This is an outdoor venue in the mountains. People from Pittsburgh and Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, they go up there to ski and do sophisticated stuff, Jeff. But on July 31st, they will be there to watch you. There's the beautiful view. I wanted you to see that.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's minus the Canadian smoke, though. So hopefully that's gone by July 31st.
Well, hopefully people won't just hear me. They'll actually see me when I get to come up there. So,
so I've been in Pittsburgh. I told you I was on the radio here for over 20 years. I'm from Tennessee, though. And when I moved here on a country music station, I was amazed at how much they love the country lifestyle in the North. You're from Georgia, and you've made your living off country lifestyle jokes and comedy. Rednecks are everywhere, aren't they?
30 minutes outside of every major city, which, to tell you the truth, Jeremy, growing up, I thought we had exclusive rights to them in the South. And through doing stand-up, I've actually been to all 50 states, just about every part of all 50 states. And I just kind of found out early on, I'm like, boy, this isn't a Southern thing. It's, which I think is why the Blue Collar Comedy Tour was so successful, was, when Kings of Comedy started, Atlanta was one of their first stops. And there was an article about it in the paper, and it said it was a show for the urban hip audience. And I said to Ingval, I said, boy, that leaves a lot of people out. I said, we need to go talk to those people. And he just kind of laughed. He said, what would you call it? I said, I'd call it the Blue Collar Tour. But I really do think that's the backbone of America. It's not these big cities. It's everything in between the big cities.
It really is. I mean, I think Brantley Gilbert had a song, Country Must Be Countrywide, and he's from Georgia like you are.
Yeah.
And he said it right. There's country folks all over this country from north to south, east to west. And I think that's one of the reasons why your comedy has resonated with the whole country.
Well, I was very lucky early on in my career because probably like most young comics, I was looking at billboards, watching commercials, going, what can I talk about? What can I talk about? but I stumbled on something that just worked for me. And that was, I just figured if I thought something, or my wife said something, or my family did something, I was going to trust other people were thinking and saying and doing the same things. And that's what I found was, the scenery changes and the accents change, but people are people. They want the exact same thing everywhere you go. And so that's, I've never tried to be uh, wild or innovative with what I come up with. I just kind of talk about my life, and apparently it resonates with a lot of other people.
So I was obviously doing a lot of research on you. I've been to your comedy shows over the years. Uh, you released the book "You Might Be a Redneck" in 1989. Then the album that went triple platinum came out in 1993, and I think that's when the whole country got "You Might Be a Redneck." That became a saying.
Yeah,
But I saw that you got into comedy. You were working at IBM, which your dad was there,
yeah.
and then you went and participated in the Great Southeastern Laugh Off at Atlanta's Punchline Comedy Club in 1984, and you won. My question for you, Jeff, is when you got into comedy in 1984, when you first was "You Might Be a Redneck" already part of your repertoire, or
Oh
did that
no,
come later?
no.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't even get into it willingly. A bunch of guys I worked with entered me in that contest. I'd never been inside a comedy club. I was just the funny guy at work that was in the break room doing impersonations of the boss, and then you'd turn around and the boss would be standing in the doorway. I was that idiot. But I grew up in a real blue collar town. My dad grew up on a farm, and so it never dawned on me as a kid that I could do something creative to make a living. And I was funny from the time I was little. I was always making people laugh. It never dawned on me, hey, you could do something that didn't hurt your back and make a living. And but when I went on stage in that contest, I was scared to death, but I knew a minute into it, I'm like, holy cow, this is what I want to do. And, I quit that job. Everybody thought I'd lost my mind. My mother's question was, are you on the dope? Whatever the dope was, she thought I was on it. And I said, Mom, I said, I'm not on the dope. I think I want to try this. I think I can do this. And honestly, I didn't think I'd get away with it for the rest of my life, but I knew I was sitting in the break room one day after I'd done it the first time, and and I'm, 24, and there's three guys sitting at the table in there that were in their 60s. And I could hear them talking, and one of them was talking about, man, I wish I'd owned a hardware store. I would have loved to have had a hardware store. And the other guy was like, yeah, I wish I'd have restored old cars. And I just thought, crap, I don't want to be sitting in this break room in 35 years saying, I wish I had tried to be a comedian. And I figured, hey, if it didn't work, I could come back with my hat in my hand and ask for my job back. But I thought, worst case, it'd be a cool story to tell my grandkids. I was a comedian for a few years. That was 42 years ago. So obviously it worked out okay. But yeah,
Well, you
I didn't know you could do something creative. Nobody I grew up with, your job was something you hated, but you had to do it to pay the rent.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming those first couple of years of doing it, it wasn't very lucrative. But then you decided to write a book, and then an album came out after that. And then when the triple platinum status on an album in the '90s, that's when you started making jokes like "you can't give rednecks money" because it
No.
changed your life, right?
Well, what happened early is like I started going to New York and playing, and the only advice I got, comics would pull me out on the sidewalk and they go, yo, Jeff, look, I don't want to hurt your freaking feelings, right? But you got to take some voice lessons and lose that stupid accent you got. And I just dug my heels in about it. I thought, at least a quarter of the country talks like I do. You're not losing your accent in New York. Why do I have to lose my accent? But I wore jeans and boots. I drove a pickup truck. I was always, talking about, oh, I wish I was hunting or fishing today. And it became good natured, but it was like, yeah, Foxworthy, you're nothing but a redneck from Georgia. And one night I was in a club outside Detroit. And after the show, I was talking about, oh, I wish I was going to be in a tree in the morning because it was deer season. And one of the comics said, Foxworthy, you are such a redneck. Well, the club we were playing in was attached to a bowling alley that had valet parking. And I said, if you don't think there's rednecks in Michigan, go look out the window. People are valet parking at the bowling alley. And I went back to the hotel that night and I wasn't trying to come up with a catchphrase or I was just trying to write stand up, something that would make people laugh. And I was like, okay, I know I'm a redneck, but apparently a lot of people don't know they are. Here's 10 ways to tell. And I did it. And not only were people laughing, they were turning around and pointing at somebody in their group. And I was like, holy cow, this resonates with people. And, I wrote 10 and then I thought, can I write 50? And then I'm like, can I write 100? And I got where I had 300 or 400. And I thought, well, maybe this would be a cool little book. I got turned down by the first 14 publishers I took it to. And the 15th one said, I think this is kind of funny. He said, how does $1,500 sound? And I thought he was asking me for $1,500 and I didn't have it. And he said, no, 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 we're going to pay you. And I said, how many you think will sell? He goes, oh, I bet we sell 5,000 of them. Well, we sold nearly 4 million of them.
I
And
remember the book. I remember it.
yeah, it was on toilets. It was on the back of toilets nationwide. Um,
Yes.
and, but they were one-liners. They were easy to retell. They were easy to remember. You could do a bunch of them in a short period of time. And it just kind of caught on. And then Warner Brothers in Nashville uh, had took a meeting with me and they said, we want to do a comedy album. And I said, because I grew up like in the 60s, people bought comedy albums.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I don't think people buy comedy records anymore. I said, what's your goal? What do you think we can sell? And the guy at Warner Brothers Nashville said to me, if we sell 100,000 of them, everybody in this building will be throwing confetti. And we sold 3 million of them.
Wow.
So, none of us saw it coming. I mean, but it did resonate with people.
Next thing you know, you had the Jeff Foxworthy television show on prime time. You became a household name. And, one of the greatest songs of all time, the Redneck 12 Days of Christmas that we played on country radio every year.
Which still mortifies my children to this day. So
the parts to a Mustang GT. We played that every year, Jeff. And I'm sorry I was coughing. The Canadian smoke was getting to me.
It's not your fault. It came right through the window. The darn Canadians.
And I know we were talking about how there's rednecks everywhere. There definitely are in Pennsylvania. As a matter of fact, Western Pennsylvania, I put together this for you. Signs you might be from Western Pennsylvania. You say yins instead of y'all. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but I even have a hat that says yins. That's our thing.
I love it. That's going to become part of my vocabulary.
How yins doing? You've eaten a sandwich with French fries on it. I don't know if you know if that's a thing around Western PA. There's a restaurant called Permane Brothers. They put the fries on the sandwich and you just eat it all together.
I just read somewhere that was like Paul McCartney's favorite sandwich was a French fry sandwich. And I said, what? Yeah, that's crazy.
They do that. Instead of calling people nosy, we call them nebby. Stop being nebby. If you've ever wished that Terry Bradshaw was your real dad. You might be from Western Pennsylvania. And I thought you'd like this one. This is real. When I moved here, it blew me away. If you call people you don't like a jagoff, you
Yeah,
might be from Western PA. And they a couple years ago, because I thought, man, you can't say jagoff. Remember, I've been on the radio for a long
yeah,
time,
yeah.
but they put it in the dictionary a couple years ago, and I was going to try to show you that real quick. I think this is it right here. Uh, Jagoff is in the dictionary. It's a American slang term associated with the Pittsburgh and Chicago area, meaning a stupid, irritating, objectionable, or contemptible person. A jagoff.
See,
It's real.
in the South we just call them relatives. Uh,
That's fantastic. Well, I tell you what, we are going to fill up Timber Rock Amphitheater on July 31st with as many relatives or jagoffs or rednecks as we can for your show.
I I've always loved coming up there, and you know what? I had just filmed what will probably be the last comedy special I ever do, only because it takes so much time to come up with 60 brand new minutes, and it's on Fox Nation right now. But
Called The
I,
Joke's on Me.
the joke's on me, and a lot of my friends go, "It's the best thing you've ever done," because I show so much behind the scenes things, kind of like they do with music, and I am enjoying stand up right now about as much as I ever have in my life. And people keep going, what? Well, have you thought about retiring? And I'm like, yeah, I thought about it, but I still love doing it. And people are still laughing. So, why would you stop if you didn't have to?
And you've played this area. This will be the Timber Rock Amphitheater is a new venue in the mountains south of Pittsburgh, but you've been here before many times. As a matter of fact, I had a picture. My dad has this framed in his man cave in Memphis, Tennessee, and I had to show it to you because it was on his wall. But the Blue Collar Comedy Tour played downtown Pittsburgh in February of '03, and it was like minus 11. And George Strait was also playing the hockey arena, the Penguins arena. And I was backstage, and I couldn't find one picture of you, but Larry the Cable Guy, Bill Engvall came over and we're talking to George Strait. Did you come over that night? Do you remember that far back?
I do remember that far back. And to show you how long ago that was and how cold it must have been, Larry is actually wearing sleeves in that picture.
I got one. Yeah, because I'm going to show you. Like here, I think he's wearing a full jacket, and he's got the right to bear arms, but not that night.
No.
Not that night.
And as my grandson always says to me, he calls me Jex. He goes, Jex, when you were a little boy, you had a brown mustache. Yeah, Larry had a brown mustache on there too.
Yeah. So being from Georgia, like when you first got into comedy, because I've been in country music for that long too. I mean, all the country singers were from like Oklahoma or Texas, but for the last 20 years, they've all been from Georgia. You got any country music friends down there in the Peach State or Georgia?
I got a bunch of country music friends down here. It's kind of amazing. I got to talking to Luke Bryan one day when he first started, and he was talking about being in one of his dad's silos, and they dumped a load of corn on him, and he was scared he was going to suffocate down in the. I mean, that's how sophisticated Luke is. He's like me. I tell everybody I am 2 decisions from drywalling. That's how famous I am. So
Luke Bryan will be playing a farm show in the mountains in September. He's coming to Latrobe, PA, so he'll be right down the road from you, raising money for the farmers.
Yeah, I just Arnold Palmer's from there, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I was going to do in my Western PA. I was tossed around making it. You wished Arnold Palmer was your real dad, because that would be definitely a sign you're from Western PA too.
Yeah, but golf's a little sophisticated for a lot of us. Bradshaw is much better.
Yeah.
Terry is a friend of mine, and let me tell you, he is loaded with rednecks. But he grew up, down in Louisiana, so he never had a choice. It was mandatory.
I wanted to show you my redneck credentials, I'm going to be dressed like Uncle Sam in a dunk tank on July 25th at the gun store, National Armory here in Pittsburgh. So I don't know. Does that make you a redneck if you're doing Have you ever done that, Jeff Foxworthy? Come on.
I was in a dunk tank on Ellen one time to raise money for charity, but I think I'm putting yours in my next page a day calendar. If you've ever been in a dunk tank in a gun store, Jeremy, that's not even you might be a redneck. That's you are a redneck.
That's if I could make a redneck book or something.
Oh,
jokes,
you're going to make I am writing this down on a note card when we hang up. You're making the calendar. Don't you worry.
That is amazing. Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk with you. July 31st is the day. Get your tickets now. Jeff Foxworthy is going to be at Timber Rock Amphitheater in the mountains. And they do sophisticated stuff in those mountains during the winter, skiing and things like that. But I don't think those folks are coming to the show.
No, it's not wintertime. We're good. We're good.
All right, Jeff. Hey, thank you. We'll look for your special, The Joke's on Me, that's out, and July 31st at Timber Rock Amphitheater. Thank you again for your time.
I'm hoping you have dried out by the 31st. So.
Yeah, this Canadian smoke will be off of us. You know, go ahead.
Hopefully you've dried out from the dunk tank as well. So,
do you still do at the end? So the last time I was at one of your shows, you do the encore with the redneck jokes. That's like
you know what? I hadn't done them on stage in like 20 years because I thought people were tired of them. But as I was putting this special together, I was in a little club one night and I was telling a story about my grandson, and it just kind of lent itself to one. And so I asked the audience, I said, I did my first special in 1990 and I closed it with redneck jokes. I said, would it be stupid to close my last special with them and kind of, go full circle and and they were like, no, do it. So, yeah, I might bring a few new ones out for you guys.
My all-time favorite was, if you're smoking in your wedding photos, you might be a redneck. That's always
I think my all-time favorite was, if your son's name is Dale Jr. and your name's not Dale, you might be a redneck.
You probably somehow, they just named him after the NASCAR driver. I get it. I can see that happening.
Why not? Yeah.
All right, Jeff, we'll see you July 31st. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great rest of your weekend.
You got it. Thanks, Jeremy. Take care.